The culture wars, they irritate, they frustrate, they annoy me like I think many millions across the country. And the woke issues drive us all bonkers daily, absolutely bonkers. But the truth is, they don't pay the bills.
Hi, I'm Anoosh Chakelian. I'm Britain Editor of the New Statesman, and my guest today is Richard Tice, the leader of Reform UK, which used to be the Brexit Party. So we're going to be asking him a bit about where his party stands on the political spectrum, what he does now without Brexit and perhaps without any further lockdowns, and how different his leadership is from that of Nigel Farage. During the pandemic, your party opposed lockdowns. Is that now behind you, or is that something that you are still going to focus on?
Look, no one wants to see another lockdown, of course, and I don't think actually the population would accept a COVID-related lockdown unless, heaven forbid, there was a variant that affected our children. In that case, in that scenario, all bets are off. But otherwise, I don't think a COVID-related lockdown would be accepted by the people. I'm much more concerned actually about some form of energy-related lockdown whereby, sod's law is, there's a really cold winter, demand for energy peaks, and our whole energy capacity, because of the Tory mismanagement of energy over the last decade, means that we essentially, the government has to ask big businesses, energy-intensive businesses to shut down for 1 or 2 days a week. And I think, look, it's a small prospect, but it's a prospect.
In what time period?
Within this winter. It's how sod's law works. We have the coldest winter for 20 or 30 years at a time when energy prices around the world are at peak levels because people like Russia are restricting supply and boosting the price. We've become a net importer of energy, so we're strategically hugely exposed. And I think that this is going to show us potentially we are strategically vulnerable. And I think it's a risk we have to be aware of. People are seeing their bills soar by hundreds of pounds, literally. And that's a real concern to people. There's a complete wild west of energy companies. Many of these small companies are going bust week in, week out. No one knows what on earth's going on. It's chaotic, and this is October. It's not like it's December or January. This is October.
And how would that energy shutdown affect people's day-to-day lives?
For example, if you work in a big skyscraper in central London, I could see the government saying, well, actually, you've got to work from home again, because we want to reduce the electricity demand for air conditioning, the lights on. If you essentially told the whole city of London to go back home, then that would cut down the energy demand. If you tell big energy-intensive businesses, whether it's steel makers, ceramic makers across the country, then car manufacturers, then that means workers are going to have to go home, and then who's going to pay the bills?
And so could that mean another 3-day week?
I just think it's a risk out there, whether it's 3 days, whether it's 4 days. The very fact that we're having to talk about it, I think, is a shocking example of the utter failure of the Conservatives to manage the UK's energy policy over the last decade. I mean, we used to be a net exporter of energy. We are now a massive importer of energy.
What now for Reform UK after Brexit and after the pandemic? Where do you sit on the political spectrum?
So look, at the next election, there'll only be 5 parties that stand, give or take, 600 candidates, and we'll be one of those 5. And we've already got over 320 approved and vetted and being trained, and by Christmas we'll have 400. And so we're absolutely deadly serious, and we're not standing down for the Con-socialists again. We did that, and there were specific reasons for doing that, but I still bear the scars on the back. And no, I think democracy works best when there's more choice, there's different options, different solutions to the challenges that we face, and they are significant. And we've got a big, bold reforming agenda around what I think will be the 3 key things that the next election is fought on. And one is the high taxes for the lowest paid. The second thing is health. And we've got some bold reforming solutions about having 0 waiting lists. And the third is the cost of the government's energy plans. I mean, we're at the foothills of their net stupid agenda to get to net zero. We haven't even started on that, and yet the costs are going through the roof. And I think people up and down the country will be saying, hang on folks, I can't even afford these bills, let alone the costs of your net zero agenda. So that's not for me, thanks very much. We've got to come up with a better, and we've got, I think, much smarter solutions to reduce emissions. We all care about the environment. We all want cleaner air, particularly in cities. And in a sense, I'm doing my own bit, having an electric car, as is my deputy leader. But we've got to be smart. We've got to have a range of energy sources. We've got to invest in new technologies. I'm a great fan for the latest nuclear technology, like small modular reactors. I'm a great fan on tidal power. I'm a fan of solar panels on millions of homes. All these things will all contribute towards it. But the idea that the government says, no, our whole solution is banning people's boilers in their homes. I mean, the truth is, heat pumps they're very expensive, they're noisy, they're inefficient, and they won't even heat your water or your radiators to the same temperature as currently.
So you've been a member of the Conservative Party and you've worked closely with Tory MPs during the Brexit years. Why are you now calling the Conservative Party the Con-socialists?
They have become the Con-socialists because they stand for high tax, high regulation, nanny state. I mean, that's what most people would think that the socialists, the Labour Party, has always historically about. You've got this idea now where literally the Con-socialists and the Labour Party are outbidding each other for tax increases. We tried that. It was called austerity in the Osborne years, and it didn't work. And the Labour Party quite rightly criticised Osborne for that. So why are we going down austerity Mark II? You've got to try the opposite, which we know works because the evidence shows it works elsewhere.
Lots of Conservative MPs are worried about the direction of their party. Are they coming to you maybe to defect?
Oh, I do hope so. It'll be such fun. Look, we know they're concerned. Some of them are, but they have two choices. Those who are concerned but want to climb the greasy political pole, they have to stay quiet. Some of them, the Ian Duncan Smiths of this world, they've got the courage to speak out, but in a sense, there's nothing they can do about it. The direction of the government is to go down the route of high taxation and high regulation, and it's the road to ruin economically. Our plan will create higher growth. As I say, we'll free up 6 million people, the lowest paid, from paying any income tax. We'll free up over 1 million businesses from paying any corporation tax. We'll abolish a raft of unproductive, expensive to collect taxes. Higher growth means higher wages, and that'll create higher revenues, tax revenues in the medium term.
Just one more question. Your style of leadership is very different to that of your predecessor, Nigel Farage. And I noticed in your party conference speech, you didn't mention the sort of culture war talking points that we've heard so much of recently. Was that a deliberate choice?
The issues around our culture, I think we're incredibly proud of our history, our heritage, of our values, and we're also incredibly, I think, we've got a great potential as a nation, but the culture wars, they irritate, they frustrate, they annoy me like, I think, many millions across the country. And the woke issues drive us all bonkers daily, absolutely bonkers. But the truth is, they don't pay the bills. And what we're focused on is the issues that actually pay the bills and create higher wages and mean that actually people can see a GP and get treated when they're in pain and get operated upon quickly. Those are the real issues that daily, weekly affect the vast majority of people's lives up and down the country, and those are the issues I think the election will be fought on.